Good morning, everyone. Let's start our class today with a prayer together. Heavenly Father, Divine Mother, friend, beloved God, great masters, Jesus Christ, Babaji Krishna, Lahiri Mahashaya, Swami Shri Yukteswarji, beloved Guru Deva, Paramahansa Yoganandaji, saints of all religions, we bow at thy feet. Help us to be ever more attuned to thy will, thy voice of inspiration, of guidance in our lives. Om Shanti Shanti. Let's start with the song, and then we'll be seeing a short video of Swami Kriyanandaji on this topic today of attuning to God and Guru's guidance. Welcome again, friends.
Listen, listen, whispering within your soul, hints of laughter, hints of joy, sweet songs of sadness, of quenchless yearning for the light, for my love, your true home. A treasure behind deep in your soul. Empty hands, like they too are seeking gifts none could share. How will you wander? Praise where all are strangers, love locks her door. Leave to the weak his craven life, to the coward leave his dreaming. Oh, my saint, wake up, reclaim the light, seek the truth behind all seeming. Leave to the weak his craven life, to the coward leave his dreaming. I say, reclaim the light, seek the truth behind all seeming. In silence of soul, in fear of love, find my abode.
And if you open yourself to it, that higher. And if you open yourself,
Nichendra, should we try to play that at the end? You can maybe work it out. Yeah, I'll just go ahead and start. Welcome again, everyone. I would like to start with a reading from In Divine Friendship, a response of Swami Kriyanandaji to someone who was asking about guidance about coming onto this path. It's very brief. Swamiji says, the best way to find out whether this is your path is simply to try it first and see. Guidance rarely comes to us when we sit back and wait for it. So long as you take positive steps, God will guide you toward the further steps to take. But if you wait for guidance to present itself to you full blown, it may never come. The secret of attracting guidance is to raise one's level of energy. By moving forward in the best way we know, we generate a flow of energy that can draw God's guidance to us. This is true even when our initial understanding isn't as clear as we'd like. So long as we use common sense, keep an attitude of openness, and offer our best efforts to God, our understanding will grow in time. This is a very deep topic. It's not channeling or becoming a psychic or even just improving on what little intuition you might have. This is really a topic about deep attunement with God, with our soul, with higher awareness, with super consciousness, with infinity. Really, how can we uplift ourselves to hear the voice of God, to feel what is the right way to go? Is it this? Is it that? How can I be happy? How can I find the right situation in my life? Maybe the right job. How can I find the right whatever? But ultimately, it's how can I find God, really? Ultimately, is how can I attune myself enough so that I can follow the guidance of God through the Guru, of God in my life, so that I can make the right decisions, make the right choices, meet the right people, be magnetically drawn to the right situations. It's a very important topic. Swami Sri Teswarji said to Master when he came, he said, allow me, when he became his disciple, he said, allow me to discipline you. And Master said, why, sir? And Swami Sri Teswarji said, because your will is guided by whims and fancies. What a brilliant answer, whims and fancies. And I will guide you with God's will. And so Master said, yes. And that's the thing, we're guided by desires or attachments or past karma or thoughts that we have, other people trying to guide us, thoughts of the others around us. But when the Guru begins to guide us, honestly, we're being pulled out of delusion. We're being pulled out of attachments, pulled out of desires, pulled out of everything that's blocking us from going back to God. There's a magnetism that's radiating from the Guru into the disciple to be able to be in tune. And when that happens, our consciousness changes and everything we do begins to change. We begin to be more open. We're more receptive. We're more even wanting to know what the right thing is. And Master said about Swamiji, when Swamiji made some changes in himself that Master had told him to make, Swamiji thought he had made the changes in himself. And he heard from some of the monks that Master had said, look how I have changed him. Wow. Look how I have changed Walter. And so the Guru's influence, the guidance is helping us to change our consciousness. Master said about Rajasi, Janakananda, he said he found God through learning how to listen. Amazing statement, learning how to listen, meaning learning how to be in tune. And with Jnanamata, even she was ill for 20 years, the end of her life, last 20 years of her life, but she still followed what the Guru said. Master would call her, have her do things where she was writing letters to the disciples. She never said, oh, it's too hard. Oh, I'm ill. Oh, I don't feel like it. Oh, isn't somebody else able to do it? And he would call her. One of the other disciples answered once, and she she was kind of speaking quietly, saying she doesn't feel well. And when she hung up the phone, sister asked her, she said, who was that? And said, oh, that was Master, but I told him that you weren't feeling that way. She said, listen, when he calls me, you say yes and make it snappy. And that's the way we should be. You say yes and not make a lot of excuses. And Master told Dr. Lewis, well, after he blessed him, he poured his love into him, he showed him the spiritual eye and everything. He told him one other thing. He said, doctor, never avoid me. Wow. And Dr. Lewis said, he said, surely I won't avoid you. But he said, how many times I tried to avoid him. I mean, think about it. How many times do we try to avoid doing the right thing, avoid Master's guidance, avoid even asking him, avoid maybe getting up in the morning, avoid energization, avoid meditation, avoid service, avoid. We just try to hide out. But the Guru is always there, prodding us along. And then those who didn't listen, who didn't attune to his guidance, didn't attune to him, Swamiji said it was like a hotel at Mount Washington, that people would come, people would check in, they would check out, they would check in, they would check out. They couldn't take it because they just didn't want to listen. And so we think it's a light thing. I listen sometimes, I don't listen sometimes. There was a man who Master said, Master to him was in the room telling the man, a disciple who was leaving. And he said, if you leave now, it's going to take you 200 lifetimes more not to find God, to come back to this point in your spiritual life. Wow. And the man left with Master sitting there telling him, we don't know how strong delusion is and how strong this karma is. He came back later, just like that boy Kumar came back to Swami Shrikeswarji when he told him not to go. And Master wept for this man who left. He said, I told you not to go. I told you. And he left anyway. This other person, I think it was a woman. Yeah, one of the renunciates. And Master said if she had stayed 24 more hours, my goodness, she would have been done with that karma forever. And so we have to realize that following the guidance, it keeps us moving strongly on the spiritual path, keeps us out of pitfalls, keeps us moving in the right direction. Then there was a man who, there's some startling stories, but he was a teacher. He was with Master. Master had him teaching. And he at a certain point left. And after 12 years of being with Master, so the disciples were asking about different ones and when will they come back and all that. And they asked about this man, and Master said, they said, when will he come back? Because obviously other people did come back. And he said, never. He said, he was never in. I mean, he'd been there all that time. What is that saying? It's saying just saying that you're a part of whatever, or taking discipleship or taking Kriya doesn't mean that you're opened yourself really deeply to the, he said he was never in from the beginning. I mean, these are some things to meditate on. And another woman who came, she came and she found, after a while, she said, oh no, I'm going to another guru can dematerialize his body on one hill and materialize it on another. And that's for me. And Master said, okay. But he said, then I will withdraw my ray. Now, she closed the door. It wasn't him, it was her. And Swamiji said, when she came back about a year later, he said, the radiance, the ray of the gurus was no longer there. She had taken on another mantle from the other teacher. And so we have to realize God is always there. Guru is always there, but we have to, door of my heart, open wide. I keep for thee. In the purification ceremony, we say, the master says, open your heart to me and I will enter. I will take charge of your life. And I remember earlier on the path, I mean, there were so many things going wrong all the time. I thought, why did that happen? And this happened. And you may be going through that. I certainly have, and many people do. And I thought, why is it so bad? And I remember one evening I was meditating. I was looking at the picture of Master. I said, Master, why is it so bad? I'm trying everything. Why is it so bad? And then I thought of my friends and I said, they're having a hard time too. Why is it so bad? And the answer I felt from Master was really, I'll never forget it, was, what station are you tuned to? And we have to ask ourselves, what station are we tuned to? We think it's so bad, but you're tuned into the wrong station. If we tune into Divine Mother, and so now why do we tune the wrong station? Because I really want this. I'm attached to that. I gotta have this, but you're tuned into the wrong station. And so we have to realize that, yes, we can hear God's voice if we really want to. If we're really tuning in. And in every part of our life, God can help us. I was remembering when Master asked Swamiji, this is about just having God help us on all levels, told Swamiji when he was 22 years old, he'd just come 8 months before to Master and given his life to God. And Master told him, now I want you to go on my behalf. He sent a monk. I want you to go on my behalf and speak at this church. I think it was Encinitas, but I'm not actually sure. And Swamiji said, I can't do that. And he said, I've never given a lecture in my life. And the monk said, well, here's the bus money. That was it. But Master knew he could work through that disciple. And besides that, he said, give Kriya. He had been there 8 months. I mean, he was able to work through Swamiji. Swamiji was open to the guidance. So he went, he did his best. I mean, it wasn't what he had hoped, but he did it. And I think that's the thing. There's so many obstacles in people's minds. I can't do that. Somebody's better than me. And why are they asking me? There's got to be somebody better. But we have to say yes. And as you do it, you feel more and more that Master's working through you. His ideas are coming, his inspirations, his joy, his magnetism, his energies flowing through you. You can't sit on the couch and just hope for that. You have to make it happen. Even Master said, when he was coming over from India to America, going over, they asked him to give a lecture on the ship. And he thought, I've never lectured. But he said, yes, he said he would do it. This is the point. Say yes to life. He said, I'll do it. And so he went there and, no words came. And then everybody started laughing. And then he was inwardly praying to his guru. You have to help me. You have to help me. And Swami Sri Teswarji, he could hear his voice saying, you can speak. And then Master spoke and in English at that. He spoke, I think it was for 45 minutes. And the passengers, they all said, it was a great talk. He said he can remember what he said. But it was God's power that flowed through him. These are beautiful examples to keep in our lives. And with Swamiji, everything he did, he said, Master's doing it through me. He's writing the books. He's giving me the music. It was his idea, Master's idea about communities and his power to start Ananda in America, to start Ananda in Europe. When Swamiji came to America, Master brought him here. We have to know he was tuning in. It was one day he felt the guidance. 2 weeks later, he was living in India. He followed that guidance. And so the guidance is there. We have to be listening. So how do we follow the guidance? Well, one way very important is be humble. Don't think you know, you don't. I mean, your soul knows, but outwardly, how many mistakes can a person make before they become more humble? And ask and pray. And every day after you meditate, just pray to Divine Mother, help me, guide my life, Master, guide my life, Babaji. And here's a prayer I use. You may not want to use it, but it's certainly powerful one, but it's not easy. I said, Master, whatever you want is what I want. Nothing else. I don't want to do anything that will give you displeasure. And if this is the right thing, please open the doors for it to happen. If it's not, close them. I don't want to go there. But you have to really want that, because when those doors close, when you really wanted something, you're not happy. But you find, if you look back at your life and you find, once you came onto the path and you start tuning into the gurus, you start asking Master, Babaji, all the gurus to help you, your life has been better. Look at it before. Mine was a disaster. I don't know about you, but look at all the mistakes a person makes without getting guidance. And so really ask with deep sincerity. I want to know. I want to do the right thing. Even if I don't seem like I want to do the right thing, I want to do the right thing. I don't want to make mistakes. Don't want to go into all those pitfalls. I want to find God. I want to have you as my constant companion. I mean, this is a beautiful prayer, but you have to really want that. Not, I want my desires. I want my attachments. It's just, in the end, they all fail you. And there's so much pain. You want to bear that pain? Better to have a little pain from not having your desires than to have the big pain that takes you into one life after another with that pain. And so first thing is really you have to be sincere to want the guidance. Secondly, I would say, well, not me, but this is what Master said, Swamiji and Master, to look at the spiritual eye and ask your prayer. Feel in the heart. Ask for guidance here. Feel in the heart. What Master said after meditation is when intuition grows and it's strong, it's developed. After meditating, look there, put your thought out, your question, feel in the heart. You might have to weigh things. And it's like a muscle. You don't ask once, oh, nobody answered, so I'm not going to do anything. Keep asking. As you keep doing, it's like a muscle. You get stronger and stronger and stronger. And I know when I felt that was the right thing. Feel. So ask, feel, listen. And the third thing, I think people they don't get it. Act. Take the first step in what seems right. Then take the second step. But to keep analyzing and trying to figure it out and thinking about it and brooding about it and calling your friends about it. And like Lahiri Mahashaya Ji said, analysis is paralysis. You paralyze yourself. Just keep the energy moving. Okay, this seems right. And I know Swamiji said something so beautiful. He said, guidance is not stagnant. So you have the guidance, and the next day it might be, now do this, now go a little bit that way, now go a little bit this way. And you have to keep asking and keep wanting to know and keep open and keep receptive. And then you'll find that the answers, they were always there in yourself, but they were hidden because of all the restlessness, all the desires, everything clouding the mind. And as we attune to the power that the guru brings, he unclouds the mind. And he says, yes, this is what you want to do. It was always there inside of you. I'd like to close with this quote. This is a fabulous quote from autobiography, and then affirmation. We don't have time to do it today, I don't think, but at least I'll tell you what it is. So these are Master's words. He said, for sure, remember these. I will reason, I will, I will act, but guide thou my reason, will, and activity to the right path in every action. And the other one, the greater the will, the greater the flow of energy, the greater the magnetism, and then the greater the inspiration. Now, from the autobiography, this is when Master's brother sent him to Vrindavan without any money and any food or anything. And I just took a small quote from that. Master says to Ananta, I accept the challenge. No hesitation was in my words or in my heart. grateful memories flashed of the instant beneficence. My healing of deadly cholera through appeal to Lahiri Mahashaya's picture, the opportune amulet amidst my discouragement, the decisive message to the unknown Benares Sadhu, the vision of Divine Mother and her majestic words of love, her swift heed through Master Mahashaya to my trifling embarrassments, the last-minute guidance which materialized my high school diploma, and the ultimate boon, my living master from the midst of lifelong dreams. And then this is in the chat, but you can use this affirmation as you go forward from this book, Scientific Healing Affirmations, Master's Words. There is a right solution to every problem. I have within me the wisdom and intelligence to see this solution and the courage and energy to carry it through. There is a right solution to every problem. I have within me the wisdom and intelligence to see this solution and the courage and energy to carry it through. Om Shanti Shanti. I'll ask Natendra to come on screen with the questions now.
Thank you, Dhyana. Should I try the video if it works?
Huh.
That you have a higher self. And if you open yourself to it and then put yourself into it, don't just wait for it to come. I remember back in Los Angeles when I was in the SRF Church of Hollywood, and I was giving a lecture there. And I remembered that Yogananda had said that you should let God speak through you. So I said, well, fine, God, I'll just stop talking and you talk. So, you know, if you stop talking in the middle of a lecture and there are 100 people there, it begins to, the time changes its dimension very much. A few seconds begin to seem awfully long. And I stood there perfectly comfortable. I wasn't at all nervous, but I stood there for 2 minutes. People were sitting there with sweat coming. They thought I'd frozen. But I was really just simply waiting for God to do his thing. And I finally had to realize that God doesn't do it that way. Yogananda said, I will reason, I will will, I will act, but guide thou my reason, will, and activity in the right path in everything. We have to do it. We have to do it ourselves. But we have to do it with his inspiration, with his guidance. And so, when you do your best and to keep inwardly asking God, you'll find that he will guide you. And it's like a muscle. Muscles don't develop just for lifting one barbell and falling flat on your nose. They develop with practice and time, but bit by bit you find that that guidance is there and it works. And also you'll know there's a certain feeling that comes to you that's calm, that's uplifted, there's a deep peace in it. You know when it's guidance and when it's your own imagination. You don't always know. You have to be careful, you have to use common sense. Yogananda, in fact, even he is a master, probably to show us the way to do this, when he was going out in 1950 to write his interpretations of different scriptures, Omar Khayyam and so on. He said, I prayed to Divine Mother, whom I should take with me to help me, and your face appeared, Walter. He called me Walter. Then I asked her twice more. And each time your face appeared. Well, you know, there are two ways of thinking of this. One is, oh no, for God's sake, not Walter. The other way, which I prefer to think was the truth, is that he was showing us a lesson. That you need to ask, and don't let your mind fool yourself, so ask repeatedly. And you'll find that if you do, so that you're not letting wishful thinking get in there. Now, of course, I'd love to think he wanted me out there, but never mind. The guidance, you begin to feel very clearly here
Dhanaji, we have a few questions though.
Okay.
The first one is sometimes others want to guide us, let's say relatives and friends, and it is against what I feel is coming from master. So how should I handle such a situation?
Yeah, that's an interesting question, isn't it? I think you have to go inside and ask God and gurus, follow it to the best of your ability. It's difficult because sometimes you're thwarted. I was thwarted coming onto the path, but I just kept coming into Ananda, and it took 12 years for my family to agree, but I didn't care. But that's who I am. So it depends on the person and your relatives. But typically, they'll come around one way or another. You have to be strong in what you feel to do. I remember a woman who came to Swamiji. She wanted to become a nun or renunciate. And her parents came with her, and they were adamantly against it. And she said, they said, no, she just can't. And Swamiji said, listen, you're her parents. It was hard for them. You're her parents in this life, but she's had other parents in other lives, and you're here to guide her in a spiritual way. And so they still didn't let her come. And then I remember something that's very sweet with one of our monks, that their parents met Swamiji, and they said, this is before he became a monk, and they said, no, we don't want him to be a monk. We want him to get married. And Swamiji said so sweetly, he's already married, isn't it? He's already married. He's married to God. So really, it's up to you. If you want to go, if I would say, try your best. And I've heard many people say, Master opened the door for them, one way or another. Either the parents got with it, or the parents came. The parents became Kriyabans. My mother came all the way to Italy when I lived there, stayed for a whole month, learned all the techniques, energization, Hong Sa, got an astrological reading. She completely changed. This is a miracle. Before was, who is that man, Swami Kriyananda, you know? What is that place you're going to? And then it turned to, how's Swamiji? So give Master a chance. Okay, any more?
Yeah, just one more. Sometimes I know what is right, but I don't want to do that. I feel pushed to do or follow my own desires.
Yeah, I know what you mean. You feel pushed. Now, who's pushing you? It's old past karma, habits, karma from the past. And I mean, you can go with that, but I just found I just was suffering so much. You learn from suffering. Pain is a teacher. You feel enough pain, and then you say, maybe I don't want to do it, but I am going to do it because I felt so much pain. So I think you have to experience that pain, and then you'll say, just like you put your hand on a hot stove, I want to test it out. Well, your hand's burned up. Next time you don't put your hand on the stove. You know, Guru's trying to help us. If you, like a parent, your child's running out in the street, you say, oh, go and enjoy the cars. You grab them and you slap them, get them in there. You know, you bring them back fast. So Master's saying, you don't want to do that. Get back over here. It seems harsh. It seems hard. But he said, you may think this path is hard, but the worldly path is much harder. I'll leave you with that. I mean, you might think what he's telling you is hard, but the worldly path, I think we all know, or we wouldn't be on the path, is much harder. So even if you feel this, you want to go out dancing or whatever it is, I don't know it. Leave it. It's not worth it. That's the last analysis. It's not worth it. It's not worth your joy. It's not worth your higher level of awareness. It's not worth your path. It's not worth the pitfall you might fall into. It's just not worth it. So do your best to pull up, and you can say, like Swamiji said, was smoking. He said he smoked and he kept trying to get out of it when he was young. And he kept saying, he didn't say I failed. He said, I haven't yet succeeded. So just, if you fall a little bit, it's okay. That finally, because this time is way over, but there was a monk who had, this is short, a monk who had a vision of all the monks when Swamiji was a monk. With him, all the monks racing toward the light. And Swamiji said, was I there? Was I with everybody? He said, yeah, you were there. And he said, people fell and they got up and they kept racing toward the light. And Swamiji said, did I fall? He said, yeah, you fell. Everybody fell. But people got back up. And then they entered into the light. So just keep trying, keep getting back up. And we've got all the help we need. We just have to really want to do it. And God's help is there and guidance. God bless you all. Thank you, Natindra. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Bye-bye.